Dale, world travel, take two.
I'm Dale Siebert, sometimes known as Gulliver, because of all the travels I take.
What inspired you to start traveling the world?
I often thought about that. I can't be sure, but my suspicion is that the trip that I took with my family, my brother, my sister, my father, and my mother, in November 1946, we went from Wisconsin all the way out to California by car, out to San Francisco, stopping along the way in the Black Hills by my uncle, and then we drove all the way down to as far as Tijuana, and drove back home on Highway 66, Route 66. And I distinctly remembered 12 events of that 1 month trip. And then I can recall that in grade school, I would sometimes look in books in our library there on places that are different than what Wisconsin was. And I think those two things probably inspired me to see things in the world that were not in Wisconsin.
Can you share one of your most memorable travel experiences?
Just one, right? Well, there are tons, but yeah. Probably the most memorable one was my favorite natural place in the world. I rank all my places I've been my favorites, and that was in Karakoram Mountains in northern Pakistan. And I was there twice in 1996 and in 2000. The second one was most memorable. I got to camp out at 16,000 feet within 5 miles of K2, the second tallest mountain in the world. That was quite spectacular.
How do you choose your destinations and plan your trips?
Well, I read a lot. I read a lot about places in the world. I'm interested in history, interested in natural features, and so I'll read books, read magazine articles, and if I come across a place that looks interesting to me or looks beautiful particularly, then I research that to see if I can make it, physically can do it, financially can do it, and that's about it. Find a place that looks intriguing. I'll schedule it if I possibly can.
What challenges have you faced while traveling, and how did you overcome them?
Well, probably the biggest one was in coming back from my second trip to the Karakorams in Pakistan. I went the night of September 11th, 2000 to the airport and discovered that people were looking at the monitor, TV monitor. You couldn't figure out why until I finally realized that the World Trade Centers were burning and were toppled and so on. And so I had a lot of thoughts there about getting home, and I finally got home 4 days later with lots of worry. That was, I guess, the most challenging that I had. It was not nearly as bad as the people who suffered, but I suffered a mild bit about that. But it wasn't fun.
What has been the most surprising and unexpected lesson you've learned through your travels?
Probably you have to learn that some people are going to be quite rude in different countries. I found out my first foreign trip, 1977. I was in South America for 5 weeks and was constantly being annoyed by what I consider to be rude people, literally pushing you off the sidewalk into the street to muscle me out of their way, and got to be quite common. And I just, after a while, got to accept that that's the way they are. That's their culture. And you can't fight it. You can't get angry anymore because you're just useless. So just accept the differences in culture, and some may not be too pleasing to you. Just learn to accept it.
What future plans do you have? What future travel plans do you have, and are there places you wish to revisit?
Well, let's see. It's I'm done traveling now until October. October I'll be going to southern Spain. Always wanted to see the Rock of Gibraltar, as well as in more detail the city of. I'm drawing a blank over here. Of east part of Spain. So I'm going to drive along the Spanish coast, southern coast, and from there I'll jump on a plane, go over to Algeria for 5 or 6 days or so. That's in early October, November. November I'm going to be going to Cameroon, which is in southern Africa on the western coast on the Atlantic, to see some gorilla reserves there, 2 of them. Plan to spend a couple of nights with a pygmy tribe. Should be interesting. And December, I'm looking for somewhere to go yet. Have not figured that out. But over New Year's, I plan to go to Louisiana. It'll be my 21st trip down there because I'm heavy into Cajun music and dancing. And from there, I'll drive all the way out to Los Angeles and go through 8 national parks in California. Go up as far as Crater Lake, Oregon National Park, and then head across to Yellowstone and Grand Tetons, weather permitting, and then back home. February, I plan to go to Bangladesh and the country of Bhutan. March, I'll be in Borneo, 3rd biggest island in the world, a bit south of India. And in April, I'll be going to possibly out to Utah, but uncertain.
And final question, what are your top travel tips for someone who wants to start exploring the world?
Ooh, let's see. Find out what you can handle in travel situations you're going to find other than the United States. If you're afraid of going somewhere where everybody doesn't speak the English language, if you're concerned about maniac drivers, which you'll find a lot of, particularly if you go to the third world, you won't run into that problem in Europe, but you will in South America, Africa, Asia. If you have problem with hotels not treating you the way you'd expect to be treated, if you have trouble with airlines not being attentive to your needs as much as they are in the U.S., then I strongly consider that you do not travel on your own, that you take guided tours. So you have to gauge what your tolerance is for travel. That's the biggest thing I'd be concerned about. You also have to be concerned about your ability to go places physically. If you're about 50 years of age, you might run into some real difficulties with physical constraints. So make sure that you can handle whatever you choose to go and see. Those are the 2 big things I'd be concerned about.
Okay, that's a wrap.